Welcome to the 6th episode of Your Time on the Run, the Hunted Series 8 podcast from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Armstrong, and joining me as always is my fellow Brit who asks the promoters for a Bentley whenever he stays in Manchester, Anthony Williams.
Hello.
And the lady who is always wary of law enforcement hiding up a tree looking for her, Michelle Pearce-Donovan.
Hello.
We're already 3/4 of the way through this series. It only feels like a couple of weeks since we started recording it.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
And for once, we are actually up to date because we're recording this on the day that episode 7 airs.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we're all at the same point again.
We are, so we can all theoretically make predictions again, at least till next week.
Yes.
You had good weeks? Pretending like it's not 24 hours since we last spoke?
Oh, yeah. Done loads of stuff since we last spoke.
So much.
I love doing that joke every time, I'll be honest. So, previously, Shaq and Chris both went for the dead drop, and Shaq claimed the cash, leaving Chris and his friend Ste to be in trouble. The hunters broke Chris's colleague Darren, leading them to a travel lodge in central Manchester. Dion and Saffron risked a family party, but thanks to Dion's other daughter Amani's phone, the hunters were led right to their location, and they became the next people whose time on the run was over. We cut back to Welsh Paul in the travel lodge, showing off their mugshots, while Craig stays in the car on Great Ancoat Street. And the fugitives were at the location between 4:30 and 5 p.m, but cancelled the booking, and HQ are disappointed.
Yay.
Yeah, well done. How?
I mean, great instinct from Steve.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Less great instinct later in the episode, but we'll get to that. So they are actually in a much posher hotel preparing pot noodles, and Steve has flagged them a room in the Gotham Hotel, which is a very, very nice hotel in Manchester, and he had a gut feeling that the travel lodge was dangerous.
There's so many questions here, right? So how did you blag a room? That's an interesting phrase to use. But why did you think something was wrong with Travelodge? Because they definitely hadn't spoken about it, because we get that later. So, I mean, if that's just a gut instinct, that is amazing.
I think it kind of had to be.
I agree. But, like, I don't know. You rock up and then go, nah, something's not right. I wonder if unaired they went to check in and they were like, you're the guys that were on the run. Someone rang earlier. Which would look too convenient if it aired, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because we find out when they do, spoilers, end up getting caught at the end of the episode. They were on the run for 16 days, I think it was. So maybe it's just that after 16 days on the run, or 15 days on the run at this point, Steve's gut feeling was just wavering towards paranoia constantly. It's like, nah, we've used too many close contacts. We need to move on.
Yeah, could be. You know, they're walking up to the hotel and going, hang on, what if they've got a hold of Darren? Yeah.
And also, you know as well as I do, Manchester is arguably not as bad as London is, but it's covered in CCTV.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very dangerous place to go when you're on the run, especially the centre of Manchester, because Great Ancoat Street is very close to the centre of Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
I did also find the picture after we discussed it last week of you geeing at the Frog and Bucket, so I definitely was there.
I thought you were.
I thought I was, but I was looking through my my photos on my phone yesterday anyway, and I'm like, oh, there's that at the Frog and Bucket. I was absolutely there. I thought it was. So HQ had Shaq near Carlisle with a negative on CCTV, and they're looking at his associates again, and he's in a cabin in Newcastle in a hot tub, which makes this the series of hot tubs and dogs.
Yes.
And he even has champagne, and it's proper champagne as well. It's Moe, I think.
Yeah, it looked pretty good.
I know, I couldn't see it, and I'm like, oh, is it good stuff?
I would imagine it was decent stuff. And then you get this isn't as difficult as I thought it would be. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Does that mean he's going to get caught, or does that mean he's going to win? Because it means one of those two things, right?
Well, yeah, that's the two outcomes on this show, Ant.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
will that be his downfall, or is this just reinforcing that he's winning?
Yeah, his edit's so weird.
Yeah,
because he has been. Well, he was a large part of the first 2-3 episodes. He's still continually peppered through all of these episodes. Like, we have never seen a potential winner edit like his.
No, and we don't see many cocky winners. So
No.
I don't know.
I have something to say.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
During the Shaq sequence, we see Daisy in headquarters, and her hair is straight. And straight away, I thought, hang on, we're going to have a continuity problem in this episode if her hair goes curly towards the end, as it did.
Oh.
Interesting.
Because in Australian Hunted, they could not change their hair, their clips, they couldn't do anything.
How come they wear the same clothes every day?
Well, yes, but Daisy's hair was straight. And I'm like, oh dear, what have you done, Daisy?
I think the same rule is in place in the UK.
Well, she went back to a slight curl by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I think they've certainly got to wear the same clothes or the same sort of clothes every day, I think. They obviously, because they're not complete grots, they do have more than one of each outfit. But yeah, I thought that those rules were in place in the UK as well. So maybe it just wasn't clocked, because that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, and we look at the smallest things that no one else really notices. But in the Australian one, they did have 3 changes of the same dress or the same suit.
Yeah, I think that's probably why Doug wears the same outfit every single series, because he just doesn't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his uniform, right?
Yeah, I don't think Doug has changed since series 1, which is hilarious.
10 years.
Or even left HQ.
He just sleeps there. The HQ room is known as the Doug Suite now. They just carefully film it so you can't see the camp bed in the corner. Andrew and Robin sent HQ a postcard mocking them. Abigail's getting very frustrated at them. They are super CCTV aware. Again, they're probably winning. And they are in Portsmouth in a village hall pretending to be Ray, and they've been off the radar for 10 days. Which is very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if they've been off the radar for 10 days, that probably makes this day 20.
Oh, no, it doesn't. He says they've been gone for 14 days.
But he also says they've been off the radar for 10.
Yeah, and that they got the money out on day 4. So that all lines up. But even so, nothing in 10 days?
Yeah, I mean, I think they are probably, and I'm hazarding a guess here with no information, they are probably sticking to the letter of the rules. So if the rules say in the first couple of weeks, as it usually does, you've got to move 5 miles every 2 days or whatever it is, they are probably moving exactly 5 miles every 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do that in the rural West Country, where they're from, and where they've got loads of contacts and all that, they can hide on farms for weeks if they do that.
Yeah. Oh, they're very good.
Might not be interesting TV, but they can do that.
Yeah.
Sean and Marie seem to be low-hanging fruit 2 weeks ago. The resources can be more focused now that people have started getting caught, and they are a couple of days behind them. And they again get no specific location, as I mentioned last week. They are in a field. They met on the dance floor of a nightclub. He knocked on her friend's door at 3 a.m. and hunted her down the next day. And Marie says she's struggling with the energy it takes to be on the run.
Yeah, why don't we know where they are?
Yeah, I don't know why they're in the middle of nowhere constantly with no location.
Because they're unhunted and they're clever.
Yeah, but usually even when they're in the middle of nowhere with no landmarks around them, we would get a rough location. We would get like Derbyshire.
Yeah, we normally get something.
Oh.
There's something odd to the fact there is no specific area for them here, I think. So analyst Serish looks at Sean and Marie's finances and finds a link to Tony Farmer, as they seem to pay each other back and forth constantly. They live next door to Sean and Marie, and a ground hunter team is sent to chat to them. Sean and Marie blag a lift with a new associate called Sabrina, and she's taking them home so they can tap into their network, and they are heading to Tony's. Incredibly convenient.
Yes.
And they plan on using him as a getaway driver. Mark and Steve then arrive in Bristol to talk to Tony and Mandy, and Mandy has to be the MVP of the episode for me because she is a delight.
She is great. What are you doing, Mandy?
Nothing. Just going for a perfectly normal cup of tea. Definitely not tipping the fugitives off.
I don't know what was going on here, because as far as we're aware, they don't know they're on their way, but
no,
it's just very odd.
I think she's just a naturally nervous person. And when faced with the bloke off of the telly and the new hunter Steve, it might be a bit intimidating for her.
Yeah.
Because given that last week they used Pembe because she wasn't a known quantity to the fugitives, I think there's probably an element of savvy fugitives going, right, these are the hunters that we've seen before. This is a guy who's been on every series. He's probably going to be a Ground Hunter again. Keep an eye out for him.
Mhm.
Because I'm pretty sure there's only like 2-3 Ground Hunters who've done a majority of the series at this point. I think it's basically just Mark and Jordan who've done every series.
Yeah. JP's been around a while.
Yeah, well, JP came from the Heist, didn't he? Him and
Yeah.
George came at the same time, so he's been 2 or 3 series, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just Jordan and Mark who've been Ground Hunters since the start, and is it just Doug in HQ now? I think. I don't
I
think there's
think.
any other HQ Hunters who've been on every series. I think it's just Doug and then Jordan and Mark.
Doug, you have to tell us.
Yeah, I'm sure Doug will correct me by the time that we've recorded episode 8, but yeah. I'm pretty sure it's just those 3 now. So Sean and Marie get to Tony's and see the Volvo and drive past, and they have a motorhome, which Mark says is ideal for 4, and he's not suggesting anything. And the fugitives hide in the bushes so they can watch the hunters, and Mark has a sentry cam placed at the front and the rear of the property just in case. And Sean and Marie say they now know what the hunters look like as they watch Mark and Steve vaping in the bushes.
Well, they know 2 of the 14.
Yeah, they don't know there's 14 hunters, and they know what 2 of them look like. One of whom, they've seen a lot, probably, if they've watched this show before.
Yeah.
HQ get the phone intercepts on Tony and Mandy as well, and Delta are suspicious of them, so they decide to just wait around the corner and pounce when the fugitives inevitably appear. And then we cut back to Ste and Chris, who are getting a Bentley towards the train station. They're heading towards Chris's daughter in Wrexham.
I can't believe they're in a Bentley. It's just...
It's great.
We've got
They're
spa
not just-
bars, champagne, and Bentleys this season. Like, really?
They're not just in a Bentley, they're in a Bentley in the centre of Manchester, which will stand out. And Oxford Road Station, not the nicest of stations, I would say. It's an experience. I used to work around the corner from it. It's very much in the heart of Studentville. A Bentley will stand out.
Yeah, and this is the team that got spooked by just vibes when they get to the Travelodge, but now are happy to be transported around in a Bentley with the logo of the hotel they've just slept in.
Yes.
That's a slightly different approach. Oh no, something's not right about the Travelodge. I don't know what it is, but let's go with the instinct. And then the next minute, they're travelling around telling the entire world where they've slept the previous night.
And the other thing is, the Hotel Gotham is not nearest to Oxford Road, station-wise. It's nearest to Piccadilly.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they went Oxford Road way. I could only assume that's the best way to get to Wrexham, but I don't know. I don't know why it would be, but
Now, Piccadilly.
you always have that
Piccadilly
in
will
any
be.
city. Yeah, you'd have thought Piccadilly would easily get there.
If you're going to go on a train in Manchester, it will be Victoria or Piccadilly. Probably Piccadilly for going south. Victoria's better for going north, and Piccadilly's better for going south. I wonder whether they thought, let's go to Oxford Road because it's the same train anyway, and there's less likely to be CCTV there. But the problem is, getting a Bentley to a station would probably stand out slightly less at Piccadilly because you can go to the underground bit where there's probably less CCTV than the approach to Oxford Road where everyone's going to remember seeing a Bentley.
It's an odd choice.
It is. On the train platform, they borrow a phone to contact Darren, and he tells them to get out of Manchester as the hunters have been and broken their network. And as a result, they change plans and decide not to go to Wrexham. They get off and walk the canal from Frodsham towards their homes in Warrington. HQ then get CCTV of Ste and Chris at Oxford Road Station, and bit of alright Daisy, reverse image searches the logo on the Bentley to identify the Gotham Hotel, and that they get on the train to Llandudno, and India suspects that they're heading towards home. Lovely bit of open source investigation, this from Bit of Alright Daisy.
Nice work.
Yes. They both do really well today, Doug and Daisy.
They do. Our 2 favourites. Not just because they tend to respond to all of our posts.
Well, they've got a bit of personality.
They do.
Yeah, they're good.
Really?
I mean, Doug has gone in the space of 8 series from being incredibly reluctant to interact with us to usually DMing me after every episode comes out to explain what we're wrong about.
But Michael, isn't anyone reluctant to interact with you?
Not me specifically, but Doug was always incredibly awkward whenever we mentioned him.
I know.
He was always like, please stop mentioning me, please stop mentioning me, and now he just embraces it because he knows we're not going to stop.
No, because why can't we? Like, we like talking about people that we like.
Yeah, it comes from a place of love.
Absolutely.
And also, as Michelle well knows, if you mention stuff over and over again, it doesn't stop me saying it. In fact, I double down on it because it's more fun for me.
Oh, it's been years.
It really
Years.
has. It probably is 10 years since you started chucking your kids in an Uber yet, but, we're still
Yeah.
going strong. So in Bristol, Alpha and Delta are both in position around Tony and Mandy's house, unaware that Sean and Marie are nearby. Sean volunteers to go to Tony and Mandy's and asks them to turn on their walkie-talkie.
This is a great example of a great idea badly implemented, isn't it?
Oh my god. This episode spent so long with Sean and Marie in this segment. It's basically an entire ad break segment, this.
Yeah. But what I love is they've come up with this great idea. We'll use walkie-talkies because they won't be able to intercept that. Oh, by the way, they will because they look like they're walkie-talkies from Aldi and they all use the same channel. But put that to one side. And then they're like, right, so now I need to go to his house and tell him to switch his walkie-talkie on. Is there not a slight flaw in that plan?
And also, because they're cheap walkie-talkies, the range is terrible on them.
Yeah.
And it makes them sound like Michelle during episode 4.
What? No, I was screaming during episode 5, not 4.
No, I was referring to the internet issues in episode 4, Michelle.
Oh, right, okay.
And you constantly cutting out for a good, 10 minutes.
Yes.
So he heads through the back gate, tripping the sentry cam, and shouts walkie-talkie at them and then runs off. Subtle.
Walkie-talkie, walkie-talkie.
Why didn't he just get a random person off the street to go and yell walkie-talkie instead of himself?
That would have been a good idea.
Oh, jeez.
I just love the idea that they're trying to be really covert, really subtle. They know that the hunters have probably been in the area fairly recently because they're in the area most of the time if they can't find you. And then he runs through the back gate and just screams, walkie-talkie, walkie-talkie! It's like, yeah, you're definitely not going to be either caught by the hunters from that or just seen as an absolute lunatic for doing that. So he heads through the back gate, tripping the sentry cam and shouts walkie-talkie at them, as I said, and Alpha and Delta head to the house, and the drone is sent up. Tony tells them on the walkie-talkie that the hunters have been to the house, and he heads over to them. Delta stop him driving away, and he tells the fugitives to run. This also was the pre-credit scene at the start of episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
If you cast your mind back, we finally got to it. The hunters sweep the woods, and fugitives are out of range of the walkie-talkie, so Tony can't even help them anymore. And Alpha find the bags, and Mark hides where the bags are, just in case they return. The drone starts heat-seeking, and Abby spots him on it. However, it's running short of battery, and they're only 200 meters away from the fugitives. Genuinely very, very tense seeing this.
It was really, really tense. And how can you be 200 meters away from someone in a field and they managed to get away?
Yeah, I was genuinely convinced that they were going to get caught.
Yeah, or at least Sean was.
Yeah, because their edit was kind of building to Marie having to go on her own and all that.
Mm.
So the drone batteries get replaced, and the hunters are given the strike order. Team Alpha finds Sean's hiding spot, but he has moved. And Marie is wandering aimlessly around the woods. They're still very much out of range of both Tony and each other. Marie contemplates heading back towards where the bags were, not realising Mark is ready to pounce on her if she does.
And I'm just looking at her going, please walk the other way. What are you doing? What are you doing?
It would have been a very memorable capture if Marie had gone to the bags and Mark had just jumped down after the tree on her.
It would have been brilliant.
I mean, because if you can't contact your partner and it's a certain length of time, you might start thinking, oh, he's been captured and they're close. So don't go back to the bags.
No, the thing that you should probably do in that sort of a situation is agree a meeting point later on if you get split up.
Mm.
If Sean's going to go running back to Tony's, agree somewhere later to meet up with him, 5 miles away. Just in case. If he isn't there by the time, then you're going to have to consider splitting up. Not just on the run. You got to keep a date. So she stumbles upon Sean's godson, Corey, and his gorgeous, gorgeous dog, and he warns her that they're watching the bags, and she goes to his house to hide.
That is so lucky.
Yeah.
Oh my most unbelievably lucky for that to
Yeah, it's
happen. 'Cause
amazing, isn't
she
it?
was heading back towards the bags.
I do wonder. I mean, obviously they've got a close family network around there now. If his godson's walks his dog in those woods, I wonder whether it was deliberate that they hid in those woods because they knew that they had family nearby in case they had to make a run for it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they know the area well enough that that's a good place to hide, don't they? So,
Yeah, I wonder whether there was a degree of intelligence we're just not seeing here. Maybe I'm giving them more credit than they deserve, but it's not the worst place for them to hide in that case.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Do you think Corey could go and get the bags after the hunt time has finished for the
No.
day?
No, that's not allowed.
How do you know? We've never had this happen before.
Because nothing to do with the hunt is allowed to happen outside of those hours.
But what if he's just picking them up as a family member?
I mean, there'd be a degree of willful ignorance, I think, if they did leave the bags there after the hunt time and then Corey went and got them for him. But I think probably it would be a rule break if Corey then gave the bags back to them.
Yeah.
So he could pick them up, he could keep them for them, but he wouldn't be allowed to give them back because that would be a rule break and probably the hunters would just get their live location straight away, I'd guess.
And I would guess after a certain amount of time, Mark's going to be calling it in and going, right, they're not coming back for these bags, so let's take them.
Yeah, and they have taken the bags before.
Yeah.
There is precedent with that. So I think, yeah, if they wanted those bags, they were going to have to go back for them in some capacity.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether it's in the rules that they have to have control of their own bags or whatever, or they just lose them, or something like that. It would be a fascinating rule book to read. Not that I'm suggesting anyone, sends us the PDF, but it would be fascinating for me to read. So Sean comes back into range and she tells him to meet her at the church. She gloats about the walkie-talkies being out of the hunter's purview, not realising that obviously, the hunters could have done it if they'd realised they were on walkie-talkies.
Oh, 100%, because they all use the same 6 channels, those walkie-talkies. They would easily intercept it.
HQ then head back to Ste and Chris and monitor stops along the routes. India gets CCTV of them preparing to get off at Frodsham, and Team Foxtrot are sent towards it. They're about a mile from Steve's, but heading to Chris's brother-in-law Neil, who can help them arrange onward travel towards his friend Julie. When Foxtrot arrive at Frodsham and show off the mugshot, a passerby spotted them crossing the bridge on foot, heading towards the canals. And then Bit of Alright Daisy gets CCTV pings of them heading on the waterways towards Warrington.
Yeah.
Was this the point where you were starting to get worried?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's like, oh, the hunters now not only know who your associates are, but they pretty much know where you're going. As soon as they know where you're going, you're in big trouble because they just get ahead of you.
My suspicion goes back to something we've discussed in previous weeks. I think that they backloaded all of the mandatory interactions they had to do. Because they were ghosts for the first half of this hunt.
Yep.
HQ had literally nothing on them apart from leaving Stansted, which is great, but you've still got to do all the mandatory stuff. So you've still got to go see friends and family. You've still got to meet up with them 50 miles away from home and all that sort of stuff and contact them and do bank pings and all that. The danger in doing that is that if HQ are a bit too efficient and they have more resources to put on you, they're going to be a lot closer behind you.
You don't want to do it at near the middle or the end of the race. You want to do it right at the beginning when there's so many fugitives for them to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, there's an inherent danger in doing it straight away because they are significantly closer to begin with because they know your exact start location. But I think it probably is wiser to do all that stuff early on.
Yeah, as soon as you can.
Because as soon as Dion and Saffron are caught, they can afford to put one hunter team on every single fugitive now.
Yep.
That's the maths of it. Because they've got 7 hunter teams, they can do 1 per fugitive now. So it's dangerous. And I think that's probably what came and bit them in the backside in this episode, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
So Ashley identifies Neil from a WhatsApp group, and Julie, who's also in there, is a family friend. Hunters arrive at Julie and Neil's respective homes. Julie's the last person he would tell anything, as she's forgetful and can't keep a secret, and Neil claims he's got no involvement, and they place sentry cams outside the homes, suspecting that Ste and Chris will appear at one or both of them. The fugitives then run to Neil's, and he says they've been there. India gets a ping on the sentry cam, and the fugitives are there right now. Neil confirms they've been to Julie's too, and they change their plans again, and they need to get out of there quickly. Golf are given the instruction to storm the house, the door is already open, and their time on the run is over, and Pembe gets a double.
But it's like one of those cartoons, when something happens and someone opens the door and it's the exact moment when some terrible thing is just going to run right on in, and it's
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
and he's running at her so fast and just runs right through.
Maybe that's Pembe's new nickname, that terrible thing. I know we're coming up with nicknames for all the ground hunters this series. Yeah, I think it's probably, I mean, not to sort of be a bit of a spoilsport about this, I think it's probably the case that the associates, especially if they're on the named list, have to agree to just open the door if the hunters are there. So that's probably why it happened. It was probably as soon as they've identified the house, like Ste and Chris are screwed regardless.
Indeed. Yeah, and it makes it exciting that she opens the door and she runs in. It's a great, and that could well have been a quick reshoot, couldn't it? It could have been, can we make this look a little bit more exciting? We don't know. Could have been beautiful timing. Could have been, right, we've caught them. We didn't get a great shot of you coming in the house. How about we do this?
So Ray says that they've been worthy opponents, but in the end, the hunters were just too good for them. And Ste hopes he's given a glimpse of how capable disabled people can be. He's lasted 16 days on the run, and Chris says their relationship has only got stronger. Hopefully the next thing he gets invited on, though, is a Caribbean holiday.
Fantastic. They were good. I did like these pair. They were very good.
Yeah, they were just ghosts for the first few episodes.
Yeah. Very likeable. Did really well. And I think you can always tell what Ray says in terms of how he views them.
Yeah, he wasn't a dick to them.
No, exactly. They've done a good job.
And he also tells HQ they can now start considering a clean sweep. And in a reaction I absolutely have not gifted and sent to you guys already, Doug golf claps. Like, Doug has a very unenthusiastic reaction to it, and it just delights me, and it's the banner. And spoilers, Doug, because I know you'll listen to this, I am going to keep using that reaction on a lot of things because it really tickled me. Especially contrasting with the guy next to you who looks very, very enthusiastic about the prospects of a clean sweep.
There is zero chance of a clean sweep.
No, I think spoilers for the end of the episode. I think it's probably likely the Farmers win. I'm now leaning towards Shaq winning as well.
Yeah. I'm on board with that.
So in Chichester, Andrew and Robin are having a fry-up, and they're staying at new associate Pam and Pete's. Robin is apparently very, very competitive, which is something new and something very interesting for us. And they decide on a new tactic. They choose to separate by about 100 miles in order to try and maximise their chances of winning. And they also don't tell each other where they're going.
Oh, God.
This was brilliant. I absolutely loved this.
I'll be honest, I was watching this last bit of the episode just going, oh, Michelle's going to hate every second of this. We might get our first stupid of the series out of this.
What are the odds? Seriously.
I know. Crazy.
And I'll let you get to it first.
Okay. Andrew gets on a train from Havant to Southampton and then on to Birmingham. Robin gets cash out to allow him to move a bit more freely, and he also wants to head towards Birmingham. India gets a ping at a co-op in Chichester for Robin's card, and he's also heading towards Southampton Station. And he has to wait for a train, but decides to have some fun while he's here. He buys 2 pints and posts on his Instagram story pretending they're still together. Doug then spots the story, and Ray worries about a split. And Doug hopes for CCTV and whether it will confirm if they split or not. There is nothing in the image that indicates where it was taken. However, there is a quarter of a sign, and that coupled with the Chichester ping means that Doug can find a converted church which doesn't match. He then expands to Hampshire and matches it to Papillon, the pub where Robin is.
Of course he can.
Lovely transition.
Can I just say, Doug, fantastic. I just love that from the little corner. But being a man and posting a photo, now being a woman, you study that photo before you put it up on Instagram or Facebook. You check what's in the background. Do I need to make it smaller? You check everything. He didn't check anything. He just put it up there. Stupid.
Sound the klaxon. Me and Ant have both done one. Yeah, I think it was a lovely bit of investigation from Doug, this. And I'm assuming from Twitter that people are going to go, how did he work that out? But, dude's a professional. For all the
Yeah.
jokes we make about Doug, dude is good at his job. He
Mm.
wouldn't still be in HQ if he wasn't. So the fact that he can use that knowledge and work it out is very impressive.
It
And
is.
know that those building styles relate to old churches and all that sort of stuff. That's incredibly clever.
Yeah. And for all the haters, we don't know how many other possibilities there were, because they're not going to show him going, nope, not that one, not that one. This could have taken hours. We don't
Yes.
know.
This is not a show about boring investigation tactics.
No.
This is a show that is made for entertainment, but also they still get the results. And that is something that people on Twitter usually don't grasp about this show.
Mm-hmm.
So Robin then heads to the train station, unaware that Andrew has exactly the same plan. India gets the CCTV from Papillon with no sign of Andrew, and his direction of travel is towards the train station. Robin gets on the platform and bumps into Andrew, and they're on the same sodding train.
So much for splitting up.
And HQ gets CCTV of him at the train station and Andrew getting off the train 2 minutes beforehand, and they identify the train as the one to Manchester Piccadilly, and Alpha pull up at the station, and that's where the episode ends.
Have we ever had an episode where two teams have split and reunited so quickly?
No. I will also say, for all the good things we've said about Andrew and Robin, Andrew's disguise is not the best at the train station.
It's not
I'll
a
just put a really
disguise.
visible bucket hat on. That'll do it.
It's a really noticeable bucket hat. It makes you look at him as opposed to everybody else.
Yeah.
No. Are there no beekeepers in Southampton? Come on.
Also, who in headquarters said we cannot allow these two clowns to get to the end? Why are they clowns? They haven't done anything funny in particular. Have they done something really stupid? I don't think so. Not compared to some of the other teams.
It's the mustache twirling bit of HQ that
Yeah.
we have to deal with now.
I can't deal with it anymore. I'm bringing it up every time now.
Your rant last week was particularly divine, I must say.
They've got to ramp up the empathy, haven't they? They've got to. They've given up on some people might want the hunters to succeed in this show now. And they're just like, right, we've got to ramp up the empathy for the fugitives.
Yeah, I think the change happened probably when Sherlock left.
Yeah,
as chief. Is when Lisa took over, they made it a lot more mustache twirling and all that sort of stuff. And I did say this when we covered Series 6.
Yeah.
It felt like there was a tonal shift between Series 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
So next time, Sean looks like Rabsy Nesbitt, JP runs through Birmingham, Hunters get eyes on, and someone gets on a quad bike.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder who's going back to Birmingham? Because that was definitely New Street.
It was definitely New Street.
That JP was running out of.
Yeah.
Because I know that station very well.
Yeah. And yeah. I mean, you've got to presume it's the farmers.
Yeah, I think the Manchester to Southampton train does stop at Birmingham because I think that is the train you can get from Manchester.
Yeah.
I think. So maybe one of them gets off there. But also, would they really want to get off in Birmingham still, even though with them having tickets there?
You never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
I think it'd be very stupid if they do, potentially.
Yeah. But as far as they're aware, though, the hunters have got no clue.
Yeah. But if they end up having a conversation on the train, which is, fairly likely, going, what did you do? Robin will go, oh yeah, I posted an Instagram story of me at Papillon with 2 beers. And he'll just like, what? Why? Why have you done that? Yeah, I wonder whether HQ find out that they're planning on getting off at Birmingham, and Frampo hands the bucket hat off to someone and says, can you just run out of Birmingham New Street for me, or something like that.
Oh, I hope so. And meanwhile, they stay on the train.
Yeah.
That would be delightful.
Because there's got to be something to that bucket hat, I think. It was very focused on at the end of this episode. I wonder whether it's going to be a vehicle for a decoy or something.
Ooh, let's hope so.
So, what are we predicting then?
I think, as you said earlier on, Farmer Boys definitely, Shaq almost certainly now.
Yeah, I think Sean and Marie are probably going to get caught next time.
I think so. And what would that leave us? Just those 3?
Just leave us with 3, yeah?
Yeah. Which is not unusual, is it, to have 3 in the final episode?
No.
We have had more before, and they've caught someone right at the beginning of the episode, haven't we?
We have. I think the most going into a finale has been about 4, maybe 5. We've
Yeah.
certainly had 4. I wonder whether the Farmer Boys are going to stay split up. I think they've kind of got to. I think probably one of them's going to maybe get off somewhere near Birmingham, but not actually Birmingham, and then one of them's going to keep going towards Manchester or something. Because if
Maybe.
you wouldn't go back on that tactic, if you're splitting up to maximise your chances of winning, you wouldn't go back on that tactic, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense to say split up, but then equally, now they're on the same train together, do they just go, oh, look, clearly we're meant to work together, let's just work together? I don't know.
And also, if it's 16, 17 days into the hunt, as we believe it is, you're probably going to want to be somewhere central because you're not far away from getting extraction information.
Yeah, it makes sense to be in the Midlands.
Yeah, if it's kind of day 17, day 18, which it probably is by this point, then you're 1 or 2 days away from getting your extraction info. You're going to want to be somewhere fairly central in the UK so you can have an easier onward journey. But the question is whether you want to lead the hunters towards that central location in the hope that they're not going to catch everyone off the back of it. What do we think the extraction info is going to be given to them in as well? Because normally it's just the random website and it was to the dead drop, but it was the urban installation in London for the celebrity one, for example, with the QR code.
I hadn't really thought about it.
Do you think there's going to be some sort of big setup for it, or is it just going to be, here's a website again?
I think website. I think the big setup is just because it's celebrity. Unless they're changing the format and want to make it more exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. The other thing as well is, will the extraction info tell them how many people are left on the run? Because the dead drop did.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because that knowledge also plays into tactics, I would say. Because if you know by the time of the dead drop that 5 people have already been caught, then maybe you play a bit more conservatively, I would say.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I know.
No. I'm really enjoying this series.
Yeah. Hard to believe we've only got 2 weeks left of it.
I know. It'll all be over soon.
I won't be able to wait. I'll have to watch the 2.
Yeah, I'm going to watch both live. So I won't be making predictions next week, but...
Well, if we all watch it, then
nobody makes predictions.
Then nobody makes predictions,
Yes.
but we all kind of know.
Yeah. Maybe we do it that way then, because I'm definitely watching it live tonight, so...
I mean, do we think anyone's going to listen to episode 7 before they've watched episode 8?
Probably not.
So does it matter? So I guess as long as we're all in the same place, we can talk about what we like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we just try and make it a spoiler-free for episode 7, but, we all really know.
Yeah. Let's see it. Let's see what happens in episode 7.
So, thank you for listening to our Hunted Recap. We'll be back this time next week to recap episode number 7. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform that isn't TikTok, where we are RTV Warriors, or you can email us and contact at rtvwarriors.com. Anthony's on the Artist formerly known as Twitter at Bullsboy. Michelle is Beth333333333, and I'm MJ Harmstone. We will see you next week for episode 7, but for this week, your time on the run is over.
Bye.
Bye.